And it was after this that Ben-Hadad, king of Aram, gathered all his host, and went up and besieged Shamron. And there was a great famine in Shamron, and behold, they besieged it until a donkey's head was sold for 80 pieces of silver, and the fourth part of the cob of dove's dung for 5 pieces of silver. And as the king of Israel was passing by upon the wall, there cried a woman to him, saying, Help, my lord, O king. And he said, If Yahweh do not help thee, whence shall I help thee? Out of the threshing floor, or out of the winepress? And the king said to her, What aileth thee? And she answered, This woman said to me, Give thy son, that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow. So we boiled my son, and did eat him. And I said to her on the next day, Give thy son, that we may eat him. And she hath hid her son. And it was, when the king heard the words of the woman, that he tore his clothes. Now he was passing by upon the wall, and the people looked, and behold, he had sackcloth within upon his flesh. Then he said, God do so to me, and more also, if the head of Elisha, the son of Shaphat, shall stand on him this day. But Elisha was sitting in his house, and the elders were sitting with him, and the king sent a man from before him. But before the messenger came to him, he said to the elders, See ye how this son of a murderer hath sent to take away my head? Look, when the messenger cometh, shut the door, and hold the door fast against him. Is not the sound of his master's feet behind him? And while he was yet talking with them, behold, the messenger came down to him, and he said, Behold, this evil is of Yahweh. Why should I wait for Yahweh any longer? Of the books called Kings, the 2nd, chapter 7. And Elisha said, Hear ye the word of Yahweh. Thus saith Yahweh, Tomorrow about this time shall a measure of fine flour be sold for a shekel, and 2 measures of barley for a shekel, in the gate of Shamron. Then the captain on whose hand the king leaned answered the man of the God, and said, Behold, if Yahweh should make windows in skies, might this thing be? And he said, Behold, thou shalt see it with thy eyes, but shalt not eat thereof. Now there were 4 leprous men at the entrance of the gate, and they said one to another, Why sit we here until we die? If we say, We will enter into the city, then the famine is in the city, and we shall die there. And if we sit still here, we die also. Now therefore come, and let us fall to the host of Aram. If they save us alive, we shall live, and if they kill us, we shall but die. And they rose up in the twilight to go to the camp of Aram, and when they were come to the outermost part of the camp of Aram, behold, there was no man there. For the Lord had made the host of Aram to hear a noise of chariots and a noise of horses, even the noise of a great host. And they said one to another, Lo, the king of Israel hath hired against us the kings of the Chettim and the kings of Mithrim to come upon us. For what reason they arose and fled in the twilight, and left their tents, and their horses, and their donkeys, even the camp as it was, and fled for their soul. And when these lepers came to the outermost part of the camp, they went into one tent, and did eat and drink, and carried thence silver and gold and raiment, and went and hid it. And they came back, and entered into another tent, and carried thence also, and went and hid it. Then they said one to another, We do not well. This day is a day of good tidings, and we are ones being silent. If we tarry till the morning light, punishment will overtake us. Now therefore come, let us go and tell the king's household. So they came, and called to the doorkeeper of the city, and they told them, saying, We came to the camp of Haram, and behold, there was no man there, neither voice of man, but the horses tied, and the donkeys tied, and the tents as they were. And he called the doorkeepers, and they told it to the king's household within. And the king arose in the night, and said to his servants, I will now show you what Haram have done to us. They know that we are hungry, therefore are they gone out of the camp to hide themselves in the field, saying, When they come out of the city, we shall take them alive, and get into the city. And one of his servants answered and said, Let some take, I pray thee, 5 of the horses that remain, which are left in the city. Behold, they are as the multitude of Israel that are consumed. And let us send and see. They took therefore 2 chariots with horses, and the king sent after the host of Haram, saying, Go and see. And they went after them to the Jordan, and lo, all the way was full of garments and vessels, which Haram had cast away in their haste. And the messengers returned, and told the king. And the people went out, and plundered the camp of Haram. So a measure of fine flour was sold for a shekel, and 2 measures of barley for a shekel, according to the word of Yahweh. And the king appointed the captain, on whose hand he leaned, to have the charge of the gate. And the people trod upon him in the gate, and he died, as the man of the God had said, who spoke when the king came down to him. And it was, as the man of the God had spoken to the king, saying, 2 measures of barley for a shekel, and a measure of fine flour for a shekel shall be tomorrow about this time in the gate of Shamaron. And that captain answered the man of the God, and said, Now behold, if Yahweh should make windows in skies, might such a thing be? And he said, Behold, thou shalt see it with thy eyes, but shalt not eat thereof. It was even so to him, for the people trod upon him in the gate, and he died.